So, who has seen the show? That's fantastic. So, no, we're going to talk about everything.
Puberty, gender, sexuality.
So, if you don't want to be spoiled, you should probably leave the room. But,
that's the next slide.
That's not the first thing.
But yeah, the things we're going to be talking about puberty, gender, sexuality, and how it relates to the magical girl and the magical girl world, moral philosophy of the characters throughout the show. There's going to be some medicine versus existentialism, and the show's a very apparent like theme of spirituality. And as well, if we can get to this, the legacy of the show, drawing sources from literature, other anime before it, so on and so forth.
And of course, a Q&A session.
We talk together.
So, like I said, there will be spoilers. This is almost a completely spoiler-filled panel.
Spoilers.
But before we get going, we have a surprise. Just a little
I see GG.
fun thing that I think everybody will enjoy.
Ooh.
Oh dear.
That was really fun to make. Oh, we won't play it again. It is on YouTube if you want to know.
What is it called?
It is called. I can't get enough. Madoka can't get enough of your love, babe. Very common. All right, so moving on from that. Puberty and gender.
Huh.
This show takes the theme of becoming a magical girl and relates it very directly to puberty, both like a social puberty and a physical one as well. And for the show, you see the girls have to sort of have the themes and have the struggles of growing up and taking adult responsibilities, and becoming a magical girl is almost like a job to them. Like they have to go to school, and as soon as they're done, it's a worry about their struggles here when they're adult.
I mean, as soon as they become a magical girl, they have the responsibilities that you would get with a job.
The mic's dead. Usually we can share.
Yeah, okay. Sorry about that. The responsibilities as a job. Basically, they're finding the place in their world. And we can see this in Madoka and Sayaka the most.
Madoka and Sayaka are the girls who basically go through puberty. All the other characters that already become a magical girl already dealt with sort of those struggles and those problems, but it's very cross-comparable because these are like the kids almost when they're presented to us, and we see them transform and become.
The entry point of the show is following them, going from a stage of childhood, a sense of innocence, a sense of seeking purpose for their daily lives, and getting mentorship into a sense of becoming an adolescent, becoming what it means to be an adult in the series. We'll talk about that more later on.
And actually, we're going to be talking about that right now. Because, enter Mommy.
Mommy, like, not only she's presented as like the senpai character, a very mother figure, even her name. I'm pretty sure that was slightly on purpose. And I know that, but like physically, like we see her with like the widest hips, the biggest tits. Like she's presented as a very womanly, very like adult character. She trains the girls. She tells them all about the dangers of the witches and the familiars. Like she's really guides them into this world of becoming becoming a magical girl. And she really is like their mother.
And once she actually did, oh, do you want to take this?
Yeah. She becomes kind of like a messiah figure after the death, which is what we're going to discuss later on in the spirituality segment of it.
Did we get ahead of ourselves? I'm sorry.
Anyway, her death is basically the waking up call to Sayaka and Madoka that everything is not just rainbows and unicorns.
Because honestly, before that, like as grim as the world is, Mami's presented as this like, ideal magical girl. She's elegant, she's beautiful, she's fighting for like what she thinks is right. She presents sort of like a cool thing to become a magical girl, like this really cool job you can have that can really make a difference. And they realize like, oh shit, it's like this is not okay.
And it essentially forces them into adulthood and dealing with what it means to be an adult, deciding, well, for themselves whether they want to actually become a magical girl, because until this point, they were under Mami's guidance. They didn't really, they paid heed to Hamura's advice not to become a magical girl, and they thought about Kyubei's, okay, make a contract with me. But really, they were pretty much following Mami's lead. And this is where we see innocence versus maturity, whether they want to actually stay as the magical, or whether they want to become the magical girl or stay in the child form. And we didn't forget about them. That's who they are. There we go. And what I just said. And they go about this in different ways. We do know that Sayaka has some reservations about becoming a magical girl, as I will show in this clip, which is actually one of her very few moments of an almost pure nugget of wisdom. Oh, sorry, the subtitles are there. It's in the middle of Come on, Sayaka. Where are your subtitles?
They turned it off when we launched DLC.
Oh, shoot. Sorry about that. 1 second.
I mean, like it said, like it's almost like it really is like a death of a parent when you grow up.
You watch it back.
And it goes downhill from there.
Anyway, getting back to the topic at hand, we'll come to that later. This slide. So yeah, we're not done with puberty, but we're going to touch on gender for a second, because one of the more interesting things in this anime is a lot of the reversal that they do with the gender, because
like it's a very, I don't use it for girl power, but like most of the characters in the show are female. In fact, there's very few male presences in the show, and which is sort of because there's always a male presence in like everyday life for almost everyone around us. There's always some sort of male figure, and it affects us as we grow up. So it's important to someone's development to have males around. It's hardly any in the show. Yeah, I can think of two.
Dad and plot device.
Not him.
and Kyubei, who is basically pushing them into making decisions. I mean, it tries to make him gender
Agnostic.
Gender neutral, but yeah, it's a guy. I mean, Mommy makes the point, girls don't like guys that rush them into things.
What we're stating in this thing is the concept of the masculine presence, which is the traditional male concepts of what it means to be a man. Madoka's mom exhibits this because she is the breadwinner of the family. She's the one that brings the salary to the table. She's the one that essentially keeps the household together. But we don't have too many of those traditional figures in this anime, which creates that kind of dissonance that happens where everyone really doesn't know like their path. Everyone's kind of lost because there's not really a sense of balance. There's a lot of feminine type of figures that happen in this series, and there's not too many masculine influences.
One thing to note, though, with Madoka's mom, because I think she's actually one of the most important characters in this, because she is, just like Mommy, one of the main guidance figures for Madoka throughout the series. Even though she is the breadwinner of the house, she's also extremely feminine. Like, early on in the series, she's held...
Did you see her freaking makeup case? Like, it's just... I don't have that much makeup in my life.
And labeled and numbered out. But early on, also, she's just telling Madoka appearance is extremely important to her, and just guiding her through her life as a young girl. What? We're forgetting people.
There's actually real boys in this show?
No. Monica's dad is a housewife. Okay. House husband. Thank you. Like, the only times we actually ever see him doing anything are dragging his wife in from going out and getting drunk with her business partners, and cutting a tomato off to feed to the baby. Nobody else in the house is eating that tomato except for the youngest child. He is essentially the mom in this scenario, and Tommy Joe's a bitch. I don't think I've seen a better picture of a diva than Tommy Joe.
You know what, like, girl diva, like, why don't you know what I'm thinking? Maybe this guy. He's the obnoxious girlfriend nobody wants.
Except Sayaka.
I can't judge.
We'll get to that. Right now. One of the most important things is that Sayaka wants to be the White Knight. She doesn't want to save Kamijo for the sake of just saving him.
She wants to be the one who saves him. She wants him healed, but she wants to be responsible for it. She wants, to be his, like I said, his White Knight. And
this is, you can see this throughout the series. Like, whenever Madoka and Sayaka get in trouble, who's the one going in front of Madoka? It's always Sayaka, like, don't worry, I'll protect you. I mean...
I didn't really notice the first time I watched it, but the fact that this mommy does warn her. She brings it up, she's like, hey, what if I did this? And she's like, no, that's actually... Sorry, I had a funny word on screen now. Bieberism.
We'll let him take this one.
Well, when we were discussing the concept of puberty, we discussed the psychosexual stages of development. Right now, we kind of see like a kind of preteen dynamic where she has a very pre-constructed idea of how the world works. She wants everything a certain way. She wants the ideal. Like I said before, they want the White Knight. She wants to be the one that saves him in the most ideal sense. He exists because, for her, in the sense that he's just an idea. Like, he's the perfect one. He's the one that she has to ideally win over in order for her concept of how the world works to fit. And I coined this kind of buzz phrase. It's called Bieberism, where we have the idea of Justin Bieber. What would a preteen do if they were in a relationship